Okay, and we're back. Somebody came up to me at the break, by the way, and pointed out something very interesting, made an interesting comment, that they thought that they were going to get the most benefit from talking to my colleagues. And he pointed out that even though he found meeting, shaking the hands, and talking to these incredibly powerful, wealthy, successful, happy people, and listening to them and talking to them, he said he actually found he was getting more benefit and an increase in belief that this works from talking to other members or many of you, the other people that are here in the seminar learning this for the first time. And there's a reason for that, because when you start actually listening to other people and getting their first impressions as well, you can see that you're not the only person thinking these things. You're being amazed by this material, sometimes skeptical of this material, but excited to see if this material really works. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen tonight and tomorrow and over the next couple of weeks for you, because when you start applying this in real life, and you're going to see how it's going to change, how things in your life are going to change, because you're going to be making some changes. Remember, if you want things in your life to change, whether it's your finances, your relationships, your health, your weight, the way you feel, if you want things in your life to change, you're going to have to change things in your life. You can't continue to think the way you've always thought. You can't continue to believe like you've always believed. You can't continue to do all the same things. You're waking up at the same time, eating the same foods, doing the same routines, saying the same words, thinking the same thoughts, hanging out with the same people, etc., etc., etc. So you're going to see some tremendous changes. And by the way, somebody grabbed me at the break and said, "Did you call him King?" Yes. Well, the official title is Royal Highness. But we know each other, and it's kind of that's how I refer to him. But yes, you should be calling him Royal Highness. But in this setting, we're a little more informal. And again, I'm very particularly pleased that, again, these individuals took time out of their schedules, because I know the importance of this, not just for you and the people listening to the CDs, but we all agree, we think that getting this knowledge out to more people who can start using it to better their own lives will better the world in general. We're really excited to be part of this. We think it's an incredible mission, and sharing this information and getting you to grasp onto it and apply it, we think is going to be very, very helpful to not only you as individuals, but also all of your respective countries, where you come from, and the world as a whole. All right, so let's carry on, shall we? So, at this point, you should understand how it works. It being the procedure, the technique on how to make whatever you want happen in your life. How to get whatever you want. Now, the interesting thing is, in the training balance scale, if you notice, we haven't talked about the how. We haven't talked about techniques or procedures, because those are completely irrelevant. When you understand law of attraction and you understand that your thinking is what creates it in your life, the how becomes completely irrelevant. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're desiring a Cadillac, and if I were to ask you, how are you going to get it? There may be no rational, logical, visible explanation on how you could possibly get this new Cadillac. Or if your desire is to pay off all your credit cards and to get out of debt, and if I were to ask you, how do you expect to do that? You may look on your radar screen of everything you know in your life, and you can say, there isn't a how. Based on what's on my radar screen, there is categorically no way on God's green earth for me to get out of debt. If you say, I want to lose 40 pounds, you may say, listen, I've tried every diet in the world, and on my radar screen, if you would ask me how I'm going to do this, I have no willpower. My metabolism's low. My thyroid doesn't work properly. Everybody in my family's overweight. I've tried to lose weight before. I hate exercise. I love to eat. There's no way I can there's no way I can tell you, no rational, logical explanation of how I'm going to get out of debt. If you're looking to get a better job, you can say, based on my skills, I have no college education, based on all the facts, there's no way. The economy in my community is terrible. Based on all the nobody's hiring. Based on all the facts, I've already been fired from 3 jobs, have a terrible resume. Based on all the facts, you could say there's no rational way that I could explain to you why I will get a better job, a better high-paying job, a more fulfilling job. I cannot tell you how that could possibly happen. And that's the point. Because you're looking on your radar screen, and when you look on your radar screen, there's no rational reason. But when you understand how this works, that when you fire off from your brain and transmit a frequency of what you want, law of attraction will make the thousands of variables from the economy, from your job, your boss, your company situation, everything is in play and everything is moving. And all the things, 99.9% of all the stuff is off your radar screen anyway. You can't see it, you can't even imagine it. And there are trillions of bits of data and information and variables and situations and coincidences and circumstances and people that are off your radar screen that are being affected by your thought. So when you put that thought out there, when you put out that vibrational frequency of what you want with power and intensity, with consistent duration of transmission, it will create everything to start moving in a manner which you could not comprehend. Even the highest mathematical genius on the world couldn't figure it out. The pattern, the synergy, the coordinating of movements, you couldn't figure it out, but the universe does, because law of attraction says that which you put out, the vibration you put out, will attract that vibration back. It's the law of attraction, and everything will start shifting and moving, and provided you have no doubt, which is belief, provided you have no doubt, which means you have high belief that it's going to happen, and you are sitting in a place of expectation as if it's already happened, then it comes flying into you at record-breaking speed. And will come in at the right point, the best point for you. So when you understand how it works, that everything is a vibration, our brain transmits and receives, and whatever you put out, scientists have proven that it affects physical matter, which proves that it works. When you understand how it works and why it works, and that it works every day in your life, that's when you start increasing your level of belief. This is why understanding how it works and why it works is so important. And that's why going back to the 5 basics, the 4 basics, which is who do you listen to, teachability index, training balance scale, and understanding that you are going to have to initially use conscious competence, which means apply this consciously with some effort initially, until it gets to unconscious competence, which means it's happening automatically, and then it's happening absolutely effortlessly. You also now know the basic, and I call it the basic procedure, which you can do anytime, any place, anywhere to get anything you want. The basic procedure which can allow you to be, do, or have anything and everything you want. And that basic procedure, to recap, is number 1, define specifically what you want. Define your dream. Define your goal. Define your desire. Define what you want. You can do it three ways. You can define it specifically, in great detail, generally, or just feeling good. Now, somebody asked me, which is better? And the answer is specific, quantifiable things that you want is good. I want a particular watch. I want a particular car. Some things are fine to be specific, but you should focus all your attention on specific, in great detail, goals. And I know you're all saying, but that's not what all the goal books say. They say you need to be very, very specific. Yeah, I know, they're all wrong. You can be very specific on some things, but generally it's much better that if you're not specific. And I'm going to explain why in a minute. The second best is to be general. I want a new car. I want a nice luxury car. That's better than being so specific. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. And the best way is to not have any specific thing that you want, but that you let the universe give you what is going to give you the best feeling. And the reason is this, and I'll give you an example. Joe meets Mary, and Mary is a beautiful girl who's fantastic. Mary is single, Joe is single, and Joe decides that Mary is the perfect girl for him. But Mary is kind of lukewarm. She's not that interested in Joe. But Joe says, I'm going to use this technique to get what I want. So he defines what he wants. I want Mary to fall in love with me. I want Mary to be my wife. I want Mary. I want Mary. I want Mary. So he uses the technique, and he defines what he wants. He puts out that vibration with power and intensity. He has a burning desire to have Mary fall in love with him and be his wife. And he uses this technique over and over again, day after day. He's putting duration, he's putting that vibrational frequency out, and he has no doubt in his mind. But what Joe doesn't know is next month, Susie is going to get a job at his office. And Susie is 10 times better for Joe than Mary. Susie is a much better vibrational match. And Susie will make Joe 10 times happier. He doesn't know that because Susie is off his radar screen. So what is a better way for Joe to act and for you to act is this. You don't know what you don't know. Some people think, I looked at a house and I knew that was the house for me and that's the house I wanted. And I'm telling you this, you ain't that smart. Maybe you really like the house, and of all the houses you've seen, maybe it was the best house of the bunch. But maybe there's a better house that you haven't seen yet that's off your radar screen. You went to a restaurant, you love the meal, and you think it's the best restaurant in town. Well, you haven't eaten at every restaurant in town, so you don't know if it's the best restaurant in town, do you? The universe has things outside your radar screen. 99.9% of all the stuff is off your radar screen. And since your main objective is not to get that house, and since your main objective is not to get Mary to fall in love with you, and since your main objective is not to get that particular car, and since your main objective is not to get that specific